Okay, so we covered tech support. This is part 4, by the way. Hopefully, we'll wrap it up in this video for B1. So, paragraph I throw in here is that I get a lot of students saying, oh, I have special circumstance. Okay, again, there's a lot of students in this class, and even for my smaller classes, there is no special circumstance. Okay, everybody's got a complicated life. I know that your story is true. I'm not saying it's not. It's just that this is the course and you need to bring yourself to the class. I'm not going to come to you and specially tailor this course to you. I just cannot do that. Not only um, is it too complicated to do that, it's also unethical. All right. So I just had a student from another course. I'm teaching a winter course online. He says, "Oh, I'm on the dean's list and I need an A and I need to stay on the dean's list." Well, that again with financial aid, sports team, you're expecting a child, you're going on vacation, etc. That has nothing to do with any of the grading I'm going to do. All right? If you're looking for that instructor, you're going to have to look for somebody else. If you email me something of that nature or call me in any way asking for special treatment because you need to keep your financial aid or you're on a sports team, I'm just going to send it to the dean because that's really unethical. Fairness, I have my flaws. Every teacher does, but fairness is not something that I am poor at. I'm very good at fairness. Okay, everybody's graded the same. Now, if you do have something coming up and you let me know, I can open things early. There's probably not any case I need to do this because everything's pretty much open on the first day of the class. All right, we still have due dates, but if you miss a due date, the only thing I have for you is the one-time pass back up here, and I have a doctor or police report. Now, some people will say, I missed the due date. I was incarcerated at 10 p.m., which actually doesn't count. But, something happened, flat tire at 10 p.m., the due date's 11 p.m. Chances are that assignment was open for weeks, so that's not going to work. You have to have it for the entire time or a big chunk of time. You broke your leg and you were in the hospital, etc., for a big chunk of time, not just for the due date. All right, I'm really strict about that. So know that if that's not for you, there's a ton of other sections you can take, but I'm very strict about it. Okay. There's a lot of support for work habits. If you back up over here, how to work really well and have good study habits and good just life skills, basically, and getting things done. Can keep yourself informed on those things. It really does help. All right, now for DSPS, I usually have a couple students per semester. Get me an accommodation letter in the first couple of weeks. I'm happy to work with you. It's usually what I usually get is an extension of another week or double time or 1.5 time for the midterm and final. I'm happy to do that. The final's a little tricky because we have to end on time, but usually there's a couple days in there wiggle room. Beyond that, if you're really not good at computers or online learning, again, that's not going to be where I'm going to help you. Unfortunately, you're going to have to get help elsewhere for that. Make sure I have that by the 1st. That would be really helpful. And it's not retroactive. So if you forget to give it to me till March 30th, past the first midterm, I'm not going to go back and open the midterm, if that makes sense to you. Make sure you do this in a timely fashion, okay? Glad to help you, and if anything, the documents that you open you're having a hard time with this, if you need a screen reader, that kind of thing, please let me know. I'm happy to work on my accessibility. My other courses are pretty clean and up to date, but my BC course, sometimes I miss a few things, okay? So please let me know if you do need something more accommodation on the documents. Student conduct and academic integrity. I feel like I've covered this pretty well. You don't have too many discussions in this course. The critique that you have of the Mutu collage, that's one of them. So make sure you're not being suggestive or, being inappropriate in some way. That's basically what that says. And again, no all caps, and make sure you're not getting super frustrated. To be honest, I used to work in collections where I had to collect money from people who didn't want to give it to you. And I think in the movies they show that as like swearing and screaming and throwing the phone. But honestly, the best way to get money out of people that don't want to give it to you is to be really polite and just call them repeatedly. So I would say, as just a general rule, first three emails are polite. The fourth one, if you're not getting what you want, then I would say escalate. Okay. Now again, there could be an issue with your email, and that's why you're not receiving my replies. I'm really good at replying. I really do respond. I am here. I'm a real person, and I will respond. Okay, so we talked about this a lot. Last day to drop, etc. Look at the academic calendar. Make sure you're clear on this. Again, financial grade aid, that's your responsibility. And we're going to look at some nudity and so on that's adult content, so just be aware of that. Oh, there's a typo right here. Okay, so our first midterm is actually going to be 165 points here. Second one's 175. The last one's 200. I think there's 2 essays versus 1 on there. I kind of forgot what I did. There's extra credit. That's wrong too. 40 points. I'm going to have to change this. Sorry. So one nice thing that you get to do is be a docent at the Bakersfield Museum. Now, sometimes a docent volunteer opportunity is not available, and they just need you to stuff envelopes or do random things. They have events at the museum. So first of all, I want to say you're very fortunate to have a great museum in town. And second of all, they really are aware of us. This is my 4th year, I think, of doing this volunteer program. 100 points is a lot out of 1,000, right? That's the difference between a B and an A. And so you can do that and volunteer over there. And if you go back onto our extra credit page, you'll see where that is. I'm not going to go click over there. So 20 points extra credit. You have this gift now for the one-time pass. Once you spend it, it's gone. Okay, you can only do it once. So don't go missing multiple weeks. You can only make up 1 week, and then you pay for it. All right, so this is the breakdown of the course. How are you going to get an A? 5 points is all I give. Like if you have 895, then you'll get an A. Okay. If you have 795, that's a B. If you have 780, that's still a C. Okay? Make sure you're getting the grade that you want by looking and checking your own grades. Extra credit, a lot of stuff that's available. Due May 3rd. This is all listed here. More information on Bakersfield, grade challenges. That's our next thing. So if you don't understand the feedback that you got on the assignment, or you feel I'm incorrect, and that does happen occasionally, I am not always perfect. Sometimes the time the computer logs out, or it didn't post your comments, or I zeroed it out. I have a different grading window, and sometimes it doesn't show as clearly. So if you got a 0 for a reason that I don't explain, then email me. But again, be polite. So down here explains how some of the problems that happen. But if you have work, if you have work that is missing, if you didn't actually submit the work, if you can check whatever you can see, basically, I want to tell you I can see. All right. So check it yourself. This is new. I'm going to say 10 points off if you're going to make me chase and look for some work that you didn't actually submit. Please don't do this. It's such a waste of my time. It takes me 25-30 minutes, at least sometimes over an hour, to really verify what you're saying. And if you do that just because you want to sort of see if you'll fool me, which, occasionally you can, you're going to pay for it with points. So don't make me look for stuff that isn't really missing. Do you understand? Hopefully you do. Okay, so that explains a lot of stuff. The schedule's down here. Now in Canvas, that's the printed version. And again, let me fly back up here. You can click here and download it. You'll see it start to download. And then you can look at the, formatted, nicer version. You can print this out. Then on the bottom of this, it's going to show you the calendar. I got to scroll way the heck down here. This is one version of the calendar, okay? And it's going to give you everything with due dates. That's why there's no excuse for you not to know what the due dates are. Not in this course. Calendar, you click over here, and it's going to populate. And our first due date's right here. Now, if you set your notifications, it's going to send you a notification for these. But you can scroll through right here, through the months, if you're curious. Most everything is on Friday. If you get toward the end of the course, I think in April, yeah, we have first Friday. This is May 3rd. That's actually May. I apologize. So first Friday, you have a due date on Saturday, because what if you were out that night and it gets past 11? I don't want you to lose your points, because this is the last first Friday for extra credit of the semester would be May 3rd, sorry. So post it the next day. Then the final is due on the 8th. We end on the 8th because I have to file grades by Monday the 13th, and sometimes it takes me a long time to get through all those essays, okay? So our last day is the 8th. Be advised and mark your calendar. Okay, let's go back to the front of the course.